The movie begins in 1945, as World War II is nearing its end. We see a man feeding on the corpses scattered in front of him when, all of a sudden, a black bird falls out of his mouth. He looks terrified, as if he isn't fully conscious. The story then shifts to Aldo's family home, where the ruthless Japanese commander Antonio arrives and joins them for dinner. As he speaks with Aldo and his wife, Lijaya, it's obvious that they're both terrified of him. Antonio demands to know where Aldo has hidden the gold, but Aldo denies knowing anything about it. This only fuels Antonio's anger, and he threatens that he'll find the gold no matter what, or no one in the family will be spared. Meanwhile, Tala is confused when she notices Filipino soldiers fighting alongside the Japanese, even though the Japanese are supposed to be their enemies and have been killing their people. That night, Aldo tells his wife that he has to leave because the Americans need his help. He also urges her to take the children and leave the area as quickly as possible because as long as Antonio is alive, he'll never leave their family alone. Lijaya becomes suspicious and asks if he actually took the gold. After thinking for a moment, Aldo denies it, insisting that he'd never put his family in such danger and promises that he'll return soon. At the same time, Tala wakes up after hearing strange noises and quietly walks toward her parents' room. There, Aldo calls his son Bayani aside and gives him something to use if he ever needs help. He tells him that from this moment on, he's a man of the family and must protect everyone from anyone who tries to hurt them. After saying a prayer for them, Aldo leaves, while Lijaya is heartbroken to see him go. 2 weeks pass, and Lijaya's condition continues to worsen. The family's food supply is almost gone, and Bayani innocently wishes that the Japanese soldiers would return because they always bring good food with them. One evening, the family gathers to pray, but Lijaya suddenly collapses to the floor, shaking violently. Her children carry her back to bed and stay by her side. Tala tells her mother that she has to accept the possibility that their father may have died and isn't coming back. Furious, Lijaya slaps her and tells her never to say something like that again. Hurt by the slap, Tala walks away, while Lijaya immediately regrets what she did and calls after her, but Tala doesn't return. The next morning, Tala decides to leave with a few girls to search for food because the family is on the verge of starving. When Bayani finds out, he secretly takes a pistol wrapped in cloth from a drawer before running outside to play with the family dog. Tala worries that their mother might wake up and catch them, so she quietly sneaks out through the gate with her brother. The maid notices them leaving but doesn't stop them. Instead, she returns to the house and tries to unlock something with a key she's carrying. Suddenly, Lijaya wakes up and calls for her, forcing the maid to hide the key before going to her. When Lijaya realizes her children are gone, she panics and rushes outside to search for them. Meanwhile, Tala and Bayani continue walking through the forest. Bayani remains convinced that their father will return because he promised he would. Suddenly, they discover a strange cabin hidden deep in the woods. Despite Tala's warnings, Bayani wants to go closer, but Tala decides to enter first to see if there's anything inside that could help them. Inside, she finds a plate on a table with a piece of chocolate beside it. She happily grabs it and eats it, but moments later she notices something moving nearby. When she enters another room, she's horrified to find strange insects crawling all over a woman's corpse. Terrified, she rushes out of the cabin without telling Bayani what she saw, and the two continue walking. However, Tala seems to fall into a strange trance. Suddenly, she sees her father standing in front of her, calling her name. She turns to tell Bayani to come with her, only to realize that he's disappeared. Panicked, she searches everywhere and repeatedly calls out to him, but there's no sign of him. Then she hears his voice calling to her from somewhere in the distance. Following the sound, Tala discovers a large house standing alone in the middle of an empty field and decides to go inside. At the same time, Bayani is also lost, wandering aimlessly through the forest. As he passes a pool of water, he sees the bodies of an entire family floating inside. Horrified, he runs away in fear. Inside the mysterious house, Tala examines the stained glass windows before noticing a single shoe lying on the floor. Suddenly, a woman dressed in unusual clothing appears behind her and calmly tells her not to be afraid. She says she's a friend and has no intention of hurting her. The woman explains that only innocent people with pure hearts are able to find this place. She also tells Tala that her father will return soon with food, that Bayani has already arrived safely, and that the insects are the ones who told her everything. She reveals that those same insects brought her back to life and promises to help Tala whenever she needs it. Afterward, Tala returns home and tells her mother that they must find someone willing to help them because they're going to starve if things continue this way, and no one knows whether her father will ever come back. That night, Tala dreams about the young woman's corpse that had been covered with insects. She suddenly wakes up in terror and finds the mysterious woman standing in front of her, holding a glass jar containing a strange insect. The woman tells Tala that the insect can be used as medicine for her mother and may ease her suffering, but the final decision is entirely up to Tala. The next morning, we see the maid, Amor, quietly sneaking out of the house to meet the man who had previously escorted Aldo. She begs him to give her more time to find Lando, but he refuses and orders her to search for the gold by any means necessary. He warns her that if she fails, she'll never see Lando again. Before leaving, he makes sure the children know nothing about the hidden treasure. Meanwhile, Tala lies down beside her mother and notices how seriously ill she has become. She eventually falls asleep, but later wakes up to find her mother in the bathroom with blood pouring heavily from her mouth. Terrified, Tala prays for her recovery, but Ligia's condition only grows worse. Desperate to save her, Tala opens the jar the mysterious woman gave her and releases the insect onto her mother. The creature crawls into Ligia's mouth, and moments later she suddenly sits up and vomits a thick black substance. The following morning, the family sits down to eat. Worried about their future, Tala asks her mother what they'll do now that they're almost out of food. Ligia remains silent for a moment before saying that their father will return soon with a huge feast. She then asks Tala what happened the previous night, and Tala tells her that she met the mysterious woman who helped cure her. As far as Tala is concerned, the only thing that matters is that her mother is feeling better. That night, however, Ligia begins suffering terrible pain as the insect feeds from inside her body. The next day, Tala returns to the mysterious house in the forest carrying a basket and asks the strange woman for food. The woman reminds Tala that she's old enough to make her own decisions and must accept the consequences of her choices. At the same time, Bayani wakes up and realizes Tala is gone. Suddenly, the front door slowly opens on its own. He walks outside searching for his mother but can't find her. Moments later, he notices her silently standing behind him on the staircase. He follows her and is horrified to discover her chewing on her own arm. Panicking, he calls for Amor. She drags Ligia back into her bedroom and then begins searching the house for the hidden gold, but she finds nothing. Suddenly, Ligia's entire body starts shaking violently, her skin turns completely red, and her stomach swells to a horrifying size. Terrified, Amor locks her inside the bedroom, hides the key inside a book, gathers her belongings, and flees the house. Soon afterward, Bayani finds the hidden key and sits outside his mother's room. Tala finally returns carrying plenty of food, but Bayani ignores it. He angrily tells her that their mother's condition has become terrifying and blames everything on Tala and her mysterious friend before storming away. Unsure of what to do, Tala picks up the key but can't bring herself to unlock the bedroom. Later that night, she goes to bed. Suddenly, her mother's bedroom door slowly creaks open by itself. She notices something crawling underneath her bed while the bed begins shaking violently. Frozen with fear, she looks underneath and sees her mother in a horrifying monstrous form. Tala hides beneath her blanket, and when she finally gathers the courage to look again, everything appears normal. The bedroom door is closed, so she quietly leaves her room and heads downstairs. There, she hears strange noises coming from outside the house. She opens the front door to investigate, but immediately sees her mother outside and slams the door shut. Bayani comes downstairs and asks what's happening. Tala desperately warns him that their mother is acting strangely and begs him not to open the door, but he ignores her. The moment he opens it, he finds Ligia lying on the ground surrounded by blood, with a black bird standing nearby. Seconds later, Ligia returns to her normal self and asks where her husband is. The children help her back to her room and spend the entire night guarding her door. Later that night, the mysterious woman appears outside the bedroom, grabs the black bird, and devours it as pure evil shines in her eyes. The following morning, Bayani buries his beloved dog while crying uncontrollably. Tala sits outside her mother's room when the mysterious woman appears behind her. Tala screams at her, demanding that she return her mother to normal. The woman calmly replies that Tala made the choice herself, and that keeping her mother alive required sacrificing her humanity. Furious, Tala orders her to leave. The mysterious woman simply tells her that she'll know where to find her if she ever needs anything else before disappearing, leaving Tala collapsed in tears. Moments later, Tala hears a man shouting. She runs outside and finds Antonio threatening Amor, demanding that she reveal the location of the gold. He's on the verge of killing her when he notices Tala standing nearby. He walks over and asks her where the gold is, but she insists she doesn't know. Antonio then tells her that her father was a traitor and died in the village along with everyone else. Tala refuses to believe him and screams in his face, but Antonio points his gun directly at her. Suddenly, Bayani appears behind Antonio holding the pistol he had secretly taken earlier. Antonio quickly turns to shoot him, but Bayani loses his nerve and lowers the weapon. Mocking him for being just like his father, Antonio shoots Bayani without hesitation. Tala rushes to her wounded brother, crying uncontrollably. She hands him the key and tells him that the gold is hidden inside their mother's room before begging Amor for help. Instead, Amor bitterly tells Tala that she never wants to see them again because their father betrayed everyone by working with the Japanese to protect his own family. She even says she wishes the children had died instead of him before leaving to follow Antonio. Enraged, Tala grabs the pistol, runs upstairs, aims toward the bedroom, and fires. She falls to the floor from the shock. When she looks up, she realizes she accidentally shot Amor instead of Antonio. Amor collapses and dies instantly. Tala begins trembling and sobbing, devastated because she never intended to kill Amor. A few moments later, Tala enters the bathroom and is horrified to see her own mother devouring Antonio. She runs away before Lijaya can catch her, races downstairs, and struggles to carry Bayani outside. His injuries are too severe, and he dies in her arms before they can escape. Tala screams in agony, unable to accept that her brother is gone. Through her tears, she promises she'll come back with help before leaving him behind. She runs all the way back to the mysterious house in the forest, crying and begging the mysterious woman to appear. After a while, the woman finally emerges holding a glowing fruit in her hand. Tala blames her for everything that has happened and begs to have her family back. The woman tells her that if she eats the fruit, everything will come to an end. Tala suddenly stops crying. Realizing she's being manipulated, she tells the woman that she'll never believe her again and runs away. Instantly, the mysterious woman's beautiful face transforms into that of a terrifying old hag as she screams in rage. When Tala returns home, Bayani is gone. She walks upstairs and is horrified to discover her brother's severed head lying at the top of the staircase. Completely numb with shock, she kneels beside it, unable to cry or even process what she's seeing. The mysterious woman appears once again, smiling with a horrifying grin. Suddenly, Tala hears loud banging behind her. She turns to see her mother repeatedly smashing her head against a wardrobe before charging straight at her. Tala barely manages to escape, collapses onto the floor, and desperately wishes for the nightmare to end. The mysterious woman appears again, telling Tala that she can't survive without her. Tala begs for everything to disappear forever, and the mysterious woman transforms into an old woman once again, smiling mysteriously. Sometime later, Tala wakes up and walks out of her room. She finds her mother lying on the floor as the insect crawls out of her back. Rushing over, she realizes Lijaya has finally returned to normal. Lijaya softly whispers Bayani's name before dying moments later. Tala is devastated and breaks down in grief over losing her mother. The mysterious woman appears one last time, holding out the glowing fruit. She tells Tala that if she eats it, everything will disappear, even the pain, and she'll finally be free. Tala accepts the fruit, and the mysterious woman immediately vanishes. Then comes the biggest surprise of all. Aldo is actually still alive. He returns home, notices blood everywhere, pulls out his pistol, and searches frantically for his children. Instead, he finds his son's severed head, falls to his knees, hugs it tightly, and breaks down in tears. As he enters the bedroom in despair, the man accompanying him secretly opens a hidden compartment inside the wardrobe, retrieves the bag filled with gold, then pulls out his gun and murders Aldo before escaping with the treasure. At that moment, Tala steps out of her room. She witnesses the man stealing the gold and then sees her father lying dead. But after everything she's been through, she no longer has the strength to react. She quietly looks at a family photograph hanging on the wall, remembering the happier days they once shared, knowing that everything has now been destroyed. Finally, Tala steps onto the balcony and watches the vehicle disappear into the distance. That night, she lights a candle, gathers her belongings, and leaves the house for good. As she walks toward the forest, she quietly asks her mother to guide her to the right path because she can no longer trust anyone or believe anything anymore. And that's how the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching.